We've got a dual threat in the storm department with a system pushing through the southeast quickly off the east coast, but we've got one that's going to take a little longer to get there, and that's moving through the Midwest over the next few days. I've got the details on that, the storms with it, the cool down with it, everything you need to know in this video, and a little preview of your eclipse forecast that's coming up. Now, in terms of your severe weather outlook for your Thursday, October 12th, 2023, we're looking at a level 2 severe weather risk over portions of central Florida and the Big Bend area there. That does include the chance for tornadoes, and then we've also got a shield for severe weather up here in eastern Nebraska and eastern Kansas, especially northeastern Kansas. Now, in terms of your tornado outlook, both of these areas, especially Nebraska and central Florida, have the 5% chance for tornadoes, which is that level 2 out of 5 threat. So let's time out both of these areas right off the bat. If you want to skip ahead, you can go ahead and move through, and I'll talk about the front as a whole in a moment. Now, here you go. You can see we've got this system right here over portions of Florida. This is a low-pressure system. What's left of what was Hurricane Lydia over portions of the eastern Pacific waters. Some of the cells on the southern end of this into the overnight hours tonight as I'm filming this Wednesday night. As we go early into your Thursday morning, these cells are going to be what I would be watching for some discreteness, being able to tap into some of the Gulf waters and instability. I would watch out for maybe even a few more tornadoes than you might expect out of these cells, and that will continue throughout the day on your Thursday over central Florida. Yes, this does include you there in Disney World there in Orlando. Let's push things back for you here to 10 a.m. over the plains. Moving ahead into the evening hours as the sun goes down, these storms are going to be firing up. And yes, once again, you see a discrete nature to these cells. I would definitely be monitoring the chance not only for some big hail out of these storms up to 2 inches in diameter, but the chance for some gusty winds and a few spin-up tornadoes. Not as many tornadoes as we might see in Florida over the next 24 hours, but nonetheless, the chance for a few to get spun up in this area. And this system will continue progressing east as we go into your Friday morning. So let's track this system and everything in the system department as we go through the weekend, and this is really the only one. Look at this, by the time you're talking about Friday morning, with the low off the Gulf Coast here right now, that's already gone. So we're talking about this plain system. Right now, it's looking pretty questionable as to whether we actually get any rain down here over towards portions of the Arklatex and eastern Oklahoma region with this system. Overall, it's looking like any showers and storms are going to stay up here and stay confined to portions of the Midwest, with less snow potential wrapping back around into portions of the plains as initially expected. Now, this low is weakening as we go towards our Friday evening and into our early Saturday. So overall, the thunderstorm chance goes down just a little bit with this, but still, I'm calling for level 1 to level 2 severe certainty Friday night and into our Saturday into portions of Illinois and Indiana. As we go into our Saturday, that's when this really becomes disorganized. We're just talking about a morning band of some rain pushing over portions of the Appalachian Mountains. Yes, some showers still continuing over portions of Detroit, portions of Chicago, maybe getting some of that wraparound moisture with the breezy conditions pushing back around behind this. Overall, this system's going to be pushing off the East Coast as we go towards our Saturday and into our Saturday night and in towards our Sunday. And you can see how that continues progressing with really just areas of Pennsylvania and portions of the immediate northeast and mid-Atlantic coastlines there lingering around with some of that moisture. See those tightly packed isobars on your screen? That indicates very strong northwestern flow, really just showing you here that we're going to have very strong winds blowing in from that direction behind this system, so that you're going to feel that cool breeze coming on in. We're going to get high pressure systems to build over portions of the central part of the country behind this. And look at how this makes things turn out as you go into towards your Sunday. This is October 15th. A beautiful finish to the weekend across the country with clear conditions in terms of at least rainfall, not necessarily clouds, but just no rainfall across the country really at all on your Sunday. So that's looking quite awesome. Now, in terms of your rainfall forecast, we're looking at a good 2 to 4 inches of rain in some of these areas from the Dakotas, portions of Minnesota on over towards the Chicagoland area, with 1 to 2 inch totals going towards the mid-Atlantic coastline. Of course, the Gulf system could spout out even more rain than that in a quick period of time in Florida, so be ready for the flooding there. By the way, we have high wind watches in effect over portions of the high plains. We have got a very feisty wind maker in this low pressure system that's developing over the plains. So let's track your wind gusts as we go into your Wednesday night as I'm filming this. So right here, right now, as we go into your Thursday morning as well, wind gusts already picking on up in excess of 40 miles per hour over many areas of the high plains there, the panhandle of Oklahoma, western Kansas getting in on those especially. As we go into your Thursday, some of these gusts could peak out around 50, 60 miles per hour there in that same area. And then this begins to shift east a little bit, still looking quite organized with 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts wrapping around from portions of eastern Kansas and eastern Nebraska into South Dakota. This storm becomes a little bit, again, messier as it progresses eastward. And yes, that does make the wind gusts a little weaker, but we still have this kind of blob, so to speak, of some 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts, even up to 40, wrapping back around for a second straight day here into portions of Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri now getting in on some of this. And everybody, even if you're under this low for a little bit, will eventually get back into the wraparound flow. But look at how this really turns into even more of just kind of a mass of these 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts as we go towards your Saturday night and into our Sunday. That's when this northwesterly flow really kicks in across portions of the south and east, and that's why this is going to bring a cool down eastward. And look at how that flow continues all the way through our Tuesday, continuing to see some of those winds pump on out of the north and northwest as we go in towards our Tuesday. And that's just going to be really the flow coming out of Canada there that we continue to see for several days next week, and then eventually some more wind developing into the plains as it looks like about a week out. Now, in terms of your temperature anomalies with this system, this is something I really want to spend some time on. Look at how we get these temperatures to go, into the 80s, even near 90 here into Oklahoma and Texas. This is bringing temperatures 10 to 15 degrees above average ahead of the front, but behind it, temperatures are going to be anywhere from around 5 to 10 degrees below average initially. But look at how that intensifies Friday afternoon. Temperatures anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees below average in the wraparound area here. Out ahead of the front, we've still got temperatures about 5 to 10 degrees, above average. This is a really feisty looking system, and that's why we at least have especially that initial chance for severe weather. Now, here's where I want to show you how the storm gets messy, and you can see it all just with one graphic. Look right there how we don't really get enough warm air pulled out ahead of this system. That's courtesy of the Gulf system as well. And then just look at how the cool air just filters in a weaker fashion overall, and the anomalies about 5 degrees below average for everyone in the eastern half of the country as we go towards the start of next week. Eventually, though, that intensifies as that wraparound northwest flow that I've been talking about increases as well, and that brings temperatures as much as 15 degrees, maybe even 20 degrees below average here over portions of the southeast, and that could also push into portions of Florida where it doesn't look like it'll be moving away anytime soon there in Florida. And I know it's kind of shocking. That's why it took me a minute to spit that out. Now, 10 to 15 degree above average departures are going to be returning to the plains, so it's just really been a flip-flop pattern, and we continue to see this. And it'll take for the next storm to come in to cool us back down in the plains again behind that. But look at how even into portions of the Carolinas, the Mid-Atlantic, we're still near average as that next little warm-up approaches. So really in a comfortable pocket in the southeast, and another one might develop over the south-central plains by the end of next week towards Friday the 20th. But again, that's a long way out, so I wouldn't, trust anything with that. So let's go ahead and look at what the Climate Prediction Center is saying for the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Very deep blues there over portions of South Georgia and northern Florida. Yes, that's indicative of a big cool down, but notice how this encompasses all of the south and eastern part of the country. And then if you live in the northern tier, especially the western tier of the country, that's where we're looking at heat, or in terms of for this time of the year developing. And overall behind this front, this is what I was talking to you about, clearing conditions, and we're going to see overall a pretty dry period develop over the entire country as we go from towards your, say, October 17th towards October 21st. Very dry conditions, and that really is just persisting after this weekend when we dry out. So we're going to have a pretty extended dry period for many parts of the country, so enjoy this rain while it lasts, unless it's a bad severe storm. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.